opportunities. Then the refugees came here to Lincoln. She was helping with, applying for jobs, helping them to kind of settle. It was nice. It was nice, but like in my mind, and it was God that He laid it on my heart that those things are nice, but you can do more. You can actually go and do something. So and then the idea was born, and I talked to Ian. He was driving, I think, to Michigan, if I recall.
Yep.
And then we got talking, and we had a very, and we met for a coffee. We had a very mutual understanding that we can actually do something, not just send money. Because one thing just to send money. Don't get me wrong, that's a very noble thing to do, but actually do it yourself. So we were talking on the phone with him, and we had no plan. We had no idea how it's going to look like. But we made a decision. So him and I, we made a decision that we're going to do it. And before any plans, we made a ticket. So we made a ticket, and then we was like, okay, what now? Buying a ticket, I think he said or I said, buying a ticket is just the easiest thing. Okay, now we've got the ticket. What do we do now? Now it's the hard part. So I spoke to my dad, and he said, well, yeah, our church can be part of this. So the idea was that we would maybe show up and we'll get like a cargo van. We'll buy some food, and we're gonna place them in boxes. I'm just gonna deliver.
Well, and remember too, like as we were trying to come up with a plan, Yvonne and I had both felt, a strong calling from God for a long time that we needed to go beyond financial gifts and go there in person. So we met, we talked about that, and our first part was, well, what type of help do we offer?
Right.
Like we know God wants us to help, but we don't know specifically what that direction looks like. So we start reaching out, looking for contacts and asking them, what's the number one thing that you need? And the answer is usually ammunition. Okay, we can't provide that. What's number two?
F-16 and tanks.
Yeah, F-16, tanks,
That's
ammo.
it, please.
Yeah. So we said, okay, what's something we can fit in our suitcases, So then it came down to food. Food was something that we could help with.
Right. So I shared that idea with my dad, and their church, they jumped on board right away. Like, okay, we can. So we decided to kind of settle the base at the Dubna Church. So Dubna Church, that's where I'm from. That's where my parents live, and he retired not too long ago, but he's still involved in the ministry. So then one thing led to another, and so the van was not big enough, the idea of having a van. So we're like, okay, well, we have relatives who's in trucking. Like, well, we're just going to ask them if they can provide with a semi-truck. We're just going to use that, and we're just going to fill it. I don't know, we were confident. To fill a semi-truck of food, I mean, it's
money.
It's money. It's money. So we're like, okay, the idea is wonderful. How do we deal with the finances? And so we decided to just talk to our friends and family.
But you called me and said, hey,
I did call you.
Hey, we wanna do this idea. Ian and I came up with the idea to go and help, and the closest area to the front line is Kherson.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So you're from Kherson, so maybe you can rearrange and get us in touch with Luda's father. He's a pastor of the church there. Can you rearrange so we can get together, and maybe you want to join us? And then we met once. We discussed a little bit, and I was a little bit uncertain to go. But then when it was the 1 year of the war in Ukraine, that morning I decided that everything played around so well, so I can leave for 2 weeks. And I called Ivan and I'm like, hey, I'm on board. And but decision already was made to take a semi truck from west of Ukraine, northwest of Ukraine, to south, to the city that's currently, and that time as well, and before that, was under missile attack every day.
Mhm.
So now you're dead with the church.
Yeah, so we talked to family and friends, and this is just like, it's interesting fact, we were raising money, so like, we went from basically zero, and then we went up to like 5,000, 6,000, and so I'm calling my dad, so okay, we have, 5,000, so he's spending money is, at the same kind of tempo,
Rate,
the
yeah.
same rate, so we would spend, we would raise 7,000, he would spend 7,000.
They go
on
purchase
food.
more food.
So it will, so our ideal number was $15,000 to cover the whole truck.
It's with the fuel and
Plus
fuel. Yeah.
fuel, yes,
Yeah,
just for the
Just for the food.
food.
And early on, I mean, our goal was not terribly aspirational. I mean, you and I were talking a little bit about, okay, so we'll raise a certain amount of money, and then if we don't get our goal, you and I will just fill the rest of the goal.
Yes, yeah.
And we didn't realize how naive that thinking was going to be.
that was what our plan B.
And then you guys jump in, and looks like these guys they don't have to fulfill that because the amount was reached a few weeks, and then it's go even.
So we reached $15,000, and we spoke to our guys. Boy, we're just not gonna pump the brakes. If people are willing to donate, we're gonna look for more opportunities
To help.
So then a few opportunities came. A mayor of Dubno reached out to my dad, and he was saying that there's a few soldiers from Dubno area that they lost legs in a war by a tank attacking them, their unit. So he was like, well, if there's money available, then maybe you guys can, that money can go to them,
For prosthetic legs.
So yes, for medical procedures and just in general. So that opportunity came, and also another opportunity came that their father-in-law, the pastor from Kherson, he reached out and said, well, it would be nice if you guys can bring some food material, roof materials.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so we bought that,
And the fundraising journey was pretty interesting, especially for people like me who have no experience fundraising at all and are massive introverts and hate reaching out to people to ask for anything. So I was like, okay, how do I raise money for this in a way that I don't have to ask people for money? So the first thing I did, if you don't know anything about me, I collect baseball cards. So I reached out to my online baseball card community and said, hey folks, I'm going to sell baseball cards to raise money to buy food for Ukraine. And so I spent, I think, a couple of weeks leading up to us starting our fundraising just selling baseball cards online. And I ended up moving like 3,000 cards and raised about $2,000 just selling baseball cards online to raise money for Ukraine. And it was incredible. Like, collecting community came out, out of the woodwork. I had people from Canada reaching out multiple times to buy baseball cards to support the trip. It was really cool.
My experience in fundraising before this was zero. And probably sometimes
industry veterans here.
Sometimes in a negative way. So I had where I'm trying to raise money, but then I'm just give up and just give my money, and that's it.
Amen. How much did you raise today? Well, let me see.
Yeah. So, but this, I don't know. The God did everything for us to be able to do this mission. It's just amazing when the people. So. My friends' neighbors reached me up and give some money. Then that neighbor, she was talking to her neighbor who I've never even seen in my life. And she's like, hey, I know guys, they go to Ukraine, they're gonna help people, they're gonna take food over there. She's like, here's money. I'm like, how is that possible? I have not even talked to the people. And just God did really miraculous things through this trip.
I was at the AAA office to get a international driving permit, right? So that I could, legally drive with my license in Ukraine. And the lady's looking at my application. She goes, oh, okay, so you're going into Poland? Oh, and Ukraine. And then she just leans over and goes, are you going on a missions trip? I was like, yeah, how did you know? She's like, how can I support you?
Wow.
She had been praying for a month after watching and following the news with her husband, wondering what she could do to support Ukraine and just didn't know what she could do. And she goes, and then you just walked right in.
Wow.
Praise the Lord. Yeah. This is praise the Lord. Yeah. Then.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, you know, to relate with that. So I spoke to some dispatchers that that I work with, and those are very, they are tough and rough guys. You know, they don't go to church. They, it's a total different ball game. So I said, hey, I'm doing this. Their response was, okay, we're gonna donate, 100 boxes, 200 boxes, no problem. Let us know where to check, where to send checks. So we saw through everything. We just saw God's hands.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Maybe we should.
So-
go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 questions. How many boxes of food did you end up doing, and then how much money did you raise? I didn't ever see it. How much?
Okay, so we had more than 1,000 boxes
Wow.
Of food.
of food, but we also
1,200.
had treats for kids. And I don't even know how many, like
Yeah, hundreds of packages
hundreds of
candy
packages
for
of,
kids.
of
for
candy
kids.
treats for kids. So the total amount was $30,250.
Raised.
Wow.
Yeah.
So $15,000 went to food. There's also expenses for diesel, things like that. Also but the soldiers, like they already spoke about that.
And the truck, right? There's general weight limit requirements for semis and how much you can transport safely, right? We have that in the U.S. That's why the semis will get pulled over and get weighed. Talk about that.
So the limit, the trailer limit is 20 tons. It's
40,000 pounds.
So about 40,000, a little bit more. So we loaded that sucker. It was
26 tons.
So it was a little overweight, but
Yeah, and a little. Also, when we talk, when Ivan brought this idea to go, and I called my father-in-law, and I said there is an idea, this, and Ivan said that there is boxes with the canned meat, and I said, yeah, those boxes will contain canned meat for a family of 4, sustained for like 5 days or so, and plus other stuff like rice, like cooking oil, like whatever. And he was shocked because in those villages, some people didn't have a meat for a long period of time. The reason why, because no electricity, no fridge. To go buy meat, yes, they live in villages, but what happened when this missile attacks happen, the cows, they go crazy. They just go crazy in the stables. Not only cows, but everything. Chickens, like we're talking about
Livestock,
all livestock. So what they did, they just opened the doors and let the animals like flee somewhere. And when the animals flee, they cannot get them back together for some obvious reasons, that the fields, they all landmines. And for the farmer to go and look for his cow, it can be like dangerous.
Yeah.
So they said, yeah, we saw some cows walking around, but we just afraid to go there. So, and the families there in the villages, huge, because one family was grandfather, his daughter, her husband, and 5 kids. Like the family is big. Like there is families with 6 kids, 7 kids. Some kids even was born during the occupation. So we saw the ladies with like 6-month-old babies on hands. So it's just people didn't have meat, and when I call and tell him that we're gonna bring some canned meat, he was shocked. So that's what people really need.
well, moving forward, maybe we can share them about our journey. So anyway, make this a long story short, we were late 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, the flight journey. Yeah, the planes. Yeah.
The flight in Dallas got delayed, so we had to wait.
If it was possible for us to miss a connection, we missed the connection.
So I'm thinking, you know, we missed a flight, then we missed the second flight. I'm thinking, okay, now Ukraine. What Ukraine can bring us? I mean, it was already a disaster.
Your suitcase didn't show up.
Well, the suitcase didn't show up. Yeah.
We missed our main international flight by 7 minutes. Sprinting up to the gate, and they're like, nope, plane's gone.
So, well, luckily, you know, we got to Warsaw. We got to the border. That was a treat. Maybe you can share.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we pull into the border, and at this point, because we got into Poland in the late evening, so by the time we drive, the 6 or 7 hours into Ukraine, it's now 2 in the morning. So we arrive at the border, and there's a hefty line of cars at the border, and this is 2 in the morning trying to get in, and it looks like this line could take an hour plus before they're even going to see us and talk to our car group. So they get the idea, hey, we'll go up and speak to them at the border and let them know that we're volunteers. And they went up and spoke to them at the front, and they said, skip the line, come up to the front.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, God is doing something.
And Yvonne was
here.
like, whoa, this is a change.
So after missing flights, when we got to the Polish border.
But wait, Ivan, tell why you guys missed the flight, because his luggage got lost.
No, my luggage got lost, and I was asked to bring some bulletproof vests. So I have to take 2 luggages, because if you put those bulletproof vests in one,
Way
it's
too
it.
much.
It's
Just
it.
all the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have friends who support some sniper group in Ukraine, and they said, hey, we have some special. It's not a scope. It's just it's a mounting for scopes. So it's like
is it a red dot?
no. It's a special
Just a
thing
mounting
just to
clip.
mounting
The
mounting
mounting
clip,
clip,
but
yeah.
it's a special that they cannot find in Ukraine. So they said, can you bring it? I said, yes, totally fine. So I put it in the luggage, get to Warsaw, everything lost. And my bus is in a few hours, it's gonna leave to Ukraine, so I cannot wait even more. So I have to write a letter that I let Ivan to pick my luggage. So Ivan got lost his luggage, but pick up mine, and they brought it back to Ukraine. So,
Yeah.
so there is a lot. Yeah.
There was a lot of going on.
The Lord gave away luggage, and it was pretty interesting what was going on with all the bags.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys have some questions. We have a really cool video Ian did. So it's about 10 minutes, and after that.
No, you said Titanic.
Ой-ой-ой.
The lane of the Titanic movie.